South California Ridgecrest earthquake sequence and what we know so far. Well, today the earthquakes in that area have greatly decreased in number. And even though they are spreading northward, northwest, they have decreased in number. And this is what the Southern California Earthquake Center has to say concerning the Searles Valley earthquake sequence by Jason Ballmark, Ben Benthi, and Kristen Golet of the Southern California Earthquake Center. Now we know that days have passed since the Thursday, July 4th, and the Friday, July 5th, magnitude 7.1. The July 4th was 6.4, as we know. And they were at Ridgecrest, California, China Lake, near the naval base, in the Coso volcanic field. That is an area on the Walker Lane Fault, which is to the east of the Golet Fault, which is perpendicular to the San Andreas. So for those living within 25 to 50 miles of that epicenter, the Searles Valley earthquake sequence produced a range of strong, violent shaking with the intensity up to 9 on the epicenter. Searles Valley earthquake sequence produced a range of strong, violent shaking. The intensity was 9 on the Mercalli intensity scale. Power outages, gas leaks resulted in fires, and other lifeline interruptions caused problems in the first hours of both the 6.4 and the 7.1, testing the strength and resolve of the residents and emergency responders. We even had cracked highways, cracked earth, buckled highways, landslides, rock falls. Elsewhere around Southern California, millions felt low intensity rolling and swaying, and it prompted fears and anxieties about what was happening and what was to come, along with the risk potential of further earthquakes. Now, some people, this was the biggest earthquake they ever felt for some. For others, minor inconvenience, part of everyday living in California, which is very earthquake prone anyway. And the highlights of the importance of intensity or the shaking level you experience where you are, depending on distance, depth, roll type versus magnitude, which is an indicator of the overall energy released. There were many specialists coming out talking about how to protect ourselves, prepare for earthquakes, and ensuring that ensured and are still ongoing, with people highlighting elements of the 7 steps to earthquake safety in the annual Great Shakeout earthquake drills. The experience of earthquakes can be highly subjective. Aftershocks, as the geologists say, are still coming and will be coming for days, weeks, and even years, who knows. And they install worry and uneasiness for some, complacency, indifference for others. But while they are at a much lower rate today, they may continue for several weeks, months, or even years, the geologists say. There are no deaths, thank goodness, or serious injuries from these events. The issue that occurred under what a dozen mobile homes faced collapsed, and a few houses caught on fire, as we said, from the ruptured gas lines. And it's a reminder to know how to turn off the gas if you smell it. You may have considered to have a automatic gas shutoff valve that functions properly. Now, many chimneys also collapsed, and it's common as many chimneys are made of brittle bricks that easily crumble in earthquake shaking. And the good news is they can be reinforced, of course. Some non-structural observations include the many products that fell off shelves in stores, people's furniture, appliances falling over. July 9th, Governor Newsom requested for federal aid, and it was approved by President Trump, which will help enhance recovery. It was mostly built up after the 1940s, this area, and the direct hit community of Ridgecrest may have come out better than others because of relative recent construction and sparse rural population. Many single-family homes were built in the 1980s, so they were built with most recent codes. Single-family wood frame homes also tend to fare better than other types of structures, such as story apartment buildings. And there are those who say that, for example, California's Earthquake Center, Dr. Christine Golet said that Ridgecrest area, right after the 6.4 foreshock of the 7.1, some single-family wood frame houses fared better than the soft-story apartment buildings. Quote, being out in the field during the 7.1 was a life-changing experience for me and my colleagues in earthquake research and engineering. As part of the Geotechnical Extreme Event Reconnaissance Team, GER team, I gathered information about how the Earth moved in terms of fault displacement, liquefaction, and lateral spreading. The GER team also observed the documented structural damage and witnessed the toll these events took on the Ridgecrest and small town of Trona and their residents, discussing with several of them and providing the technical context that seemed to reassure them. As we know, California is crisscrossed by hundreds of significant faults, and the expression is all around the vigorous activity, shaping, carving out gorgeous scenery around the state. This is from the earth changes, the geological activity. Endless hills, dramatic basins, wide and vast deserts, and you even have volcano peaks with lava flows in the area of this area of the Mojave Desert. Deep lakes, serene, vast deserts. Some of the roadways and lifelines, such as aqueducts, electricity transmission lines, and gas pipes, intersect one or more significant faults here, making them vulnerable to damage. The San Andreas Fault, for example, runs through the state and delineates the contact of the huge North American Pacific plates and intersects several lifelines in multiple spots. It may take some time to determine exactly which fault rupture near Ridgecrest. The event is not a surprise in this region, called the Eastern California Shear Zone. That's the beginning of the Walker Lane Fault Zone, which extends north and propagates itself north towards the Cascadia Arc. And in the past videos, we also saw how the Walker Fault feels the pressure from the Cascadia subduction zone area quakes, Seattle, Vancouver Island of Canada, for example. And it takes a couple of hours, maybe 13 hours in this case of 2019. 5 years ago, it took 24 hours for quakes 6.2 magnitude north of Vancouver Island, Canada, which is basically in the neighborhood of Seattle, to hit the same exact area, Ridgecrest, California, in the Coastal Volcanic Field. So that's more than coincidence. And the geologists came up with the fact that, yes, they are somehow connected as far as earthquakes are concerned. So it'll take time to determine which faults ruptured Ridgecrest, and the event is not surprising, they say. So they have to examine exactly which faults ruptured near Ridgecrest, and it's not surprising in this region called the Eastern California Shear Zone, containing a collection of many faults near Joshua Tree in the south up through Owens Valley to the north. These other faults are powerful in their own right and have produced the largest earthquakes in the last 40 years in Southern California, including the 1992 7.3 magnitude Landers and the 1999 magnitude 7.1 Hector mine earthquakes. There are, of course, memorable earthquakes elsewhere in the state, include 1994 6.7 Northridge earthquake, the 1989 magnitude 6.9 Loma Prieta earthquake, and the 1971 magnitude 6.5 San Fernando earthquake, and more recently the 2014 6 magnitude Napa earthquake. The magnitude 6.4 earthquake on Thursday, July 4th, broke the L-shaped pattern across the two conjugate faults. Friday night, an onward dramatically larger 7.1 magnitude earthquake and aftershocks caused the L to turn into a T with a sequential general pattern highlighting the presence of a long fault structure trending from northeast to southwest. Since 1850, there have been about 3 earthquakes in this immediate region of magnitude 6 or more. In all of California, there have been 125 earthquakes of magnitude 6 or more. Nearby faults include the north-south trending Sierra Nevada, Wilson Canyon, Airport Lake, Ash Hill, Pinnamin Valley, and Tank Canyon Fault, with Golet Fault, the second largest fault in California, to the south running east-west. The California Geological Survey's fault active map is one such interactive tool you can use to zoom in and out around California to see the faults near you. All the partners working together to conduct field reconnaissance and perform manned and drone flyovers to capture data using a variety of earthquake imaging techniques such as LiDAR, INSAR, structure from motion, and more. The South California Earthquake Center, coordinated with partners from USGS, EERA, and NASA, and several other South Carolina Earthquake Corps, SCEC, core institutions to increase instrumentation here, including seismometers and GPS stations to capture data in the shortest and long term to track tremors and deformations, and this will empower scientists to see how this earthquake sequence has affected the geological environment and to support better modeling this. Moving forward, remember, you can prepare to survive and recover from earthquakes with Earthquake Counting Alliance, ECA, 7 Steps to Earthquake Safety. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.